The rainforests of Ecuador, a treasure trove of biodiversity.
Nothing is more important than harmony between humankind and nature.
However, the harmony is getting out of step. Companies are greedily drilling for oil in the rainforest more and more.
It's a catastrophe. It causes a lot of trouble.
A group of courageous women decided to fight back. With a small radio station, they fight against the exploitation of their homeland. They raise their voices for nature conservation and justice. A report trip back to their roots. Mariana Canelos and Yiyun Uyunka live in the city, but they grew up here in the rainforest. They are radio producers and on their way to the women of the Amazon region. Everybody here knows them. Their radio programs are very popular. Janne Bierwirth, a high school graduate from Cologne, who is committed to protecting the rainforest, engaging in the Fridays for Future movement, accompanies them. With the help of social media, Janne wants to make the radio women's work known in Germany too. Almost half of Ecuador consists of rainforest. The women's journey begins in the city of Puyo. The first part of the trip on Rio Bobonaza takes 7 hours and leads deep into the Amazon region. The destination is the community of Sarayaku. In Sarayaku, there is a lot to report for the radio producers. The Quechua people live here. For years, they have been fighting raw materials conglomerates that wanted to produce oil on their land. It is still quiet in the village, but that will soon change. A big festival in honor of the rainforest will attract many guests. The radio women, Mariana and Yiyun, meet their friend Rupai Sisa here. This completes the radio team. One goal of their journey, they want to record ancient songs sung by women. The songs are about worries, but also about longing and love. Or, like in this case, about a woman who turns into a jaguar because her lover disowned her.
Well, that was the song.
In their songs, the women invoke the invisible forces of nature.
In our radio program, we want to tell about the life and feelings of women. Traditionally, women don't often get a chance to speak in the Amazon region. If something is said, it is usually done by the men. This must change. We, the indigenous women, must learn to communicate, and our microphone is a fantastic tool for this.
The women of the rainforest are afraid that their homeland, Amazonia, will irretrievably be destroyed. They resist. In 2017, they organized a protest march through Ecuador's capital, Quito, against oil companies and their own government.
We women have been protecting the rainforest and its diversity for over 1,500 years.
On that day, Mariana, Jijun and Rupai launched the first digital women's radio in the Amazon region of Ecuador. The women speak their tribal languages as well as Spanish. Their podcasts can therefore be understood even in the most remote regions.
With our program, we want to offer a forum to the women from the Amazon region. We want to reach them all, from the city to the rainforest.
A radio station that gives a wake-up call, because the jungle and its inhabitants are in danger. There are enormous oil deposits slumbering in the ground. The greed for it threatens nature and also the indigenous peoples. The so-called Minga community fishing is taking place in Sarayaku today. The radio women are fascinated by the way the Quichua catch fish with the help of a plant.
Babasco grows everywhere in the gardens here. It's a natural anesthetic whose effect passes after 2 hours. Babasco is not a chemical agent. It doesn't kill worms or microorganisms. The villagers only fetch the fish that are within reach. All others are stunned briefly and then keep on swimming.
The women collect the stunned fish with baskets. The radio women Mariana and Jijun also participate. Janne, the intern from Cologne, documents everything for her travel journal.
I get the feeling that the people here live together as a community in a way unheard of in Germany. When the fish are swimming by in the river, they all stand in the water together as a village and catch fish. We would never ever do that in Germany, and that is why I find it really fascinating how we also have become part of this community. Even if only for a few days, but still, it's great.
Sarayaku is a watchful community. People stick together. Thanks to the village's self-confident women, an oil company gave up the development of the Quichua territory. In 2003, an oil company carried out exploratory blasting without warning the village. The Quichua filmed the events for later evidence. When the government sent soldiers, it was the village's women in particular who fought back vigorously. They took the soldiers' rifles and thus forced negotiations. Finally, the military withdrew. Thanks to this video evidence, the Quichua won a trial against the state of Ecuador. Since then, Sarayaku has become famous as a rebel village in the Amazon region.
It was the women who took the initiative at that time. They took the weapons from the soldiers. That left a deep impression on the men of Sarayaku. Since then, women have been in charge here. Our hope is that many other communities will follow this example. Through the radio, we have the opportunity to ask women here how they have managed to stand up for themselves. In my own culture, among the Achua people, men still don't take us women seriously. It's not easy for us.
Samai, who is well acquainted with the traditions of the village, meets with Janne, who would like to know how people here intend to protect their homeland in the future. Social media play a key role here. Thanks to its solar systems, the village has a reliable power supply.
In the fight for our rights, it is above all young people who are important. The generation growing up now is crucial for the future of this region. Only if they succeed in protecting the rainforest will our grandchildren and great-grandchildren have a future.
Jana has already learned a lot on her journey. Like how the women of Sarayaku stand up for themselves in a tribal system that is normally dominated by men. This encourages her and increases her curiosity to learn even more about the people here. It is the night before the big event. The villagers paint each other with traditional patterns. Mariana and Jijun are also participating. They want to make a radio program about it. Prelude to the big party. The men return from hunting, richly decorated in honor of the village community and the rainforest. Being here is a great honor, rarely granted to strangers. Many men are wearing animal skins as proof of their hunting skills. At the festival, old friendships are cultivated, and chicha, a kind of beer made from cassava, is drunk. It's loud, and the villagers are self-confident. They want to show politicians and corporations that they are fighting against the destruction of their environment. Despite all the wildness, the festival is to set an example for treating nature with respect.
This is the purpose of our radio program. We want to show how villagers really live, their traditions, their festivities, in which the close connection between man and nature becomes tangible, always interspersed with a great deal of joy of life.
But the radio women also want to talk about what the festival is being criticized for. Hundreds of wild animals are being killed in order to feed the guests. Preserving traditions and protecting nature at the same time, it's not possible without compromises. That's why, from now on, the celebration should only take place every 5 years.
I noticed that everybody at the festival was very exuberant. I learnt that it hadn't always been like that. In the past, the festivals were held in a more traditional way. Nowadays, men walk up to a woman with 2 chica cups and pour one into her mouth and the other one over her head from behind. I found that quite funny. It reminded me of a somewhat wilder high school graduation party in Germany.
In the evening, Mariana and Jijun meet to show each other their sound recordings. The fact that they come from the rainforest themselves makes their work much easier. The two agree. Whether the people can save their homeland from destruction depends above all on the younger generations. Will they stay or migrate to the cities? And what is the right strategy in the fight against nature's destruction? Maybe the youngest can learn it here, at school. It is a rainforest school in which what nature provides is also used for handicrafts. Special emphasis is placed on teaching 2 languages.
We speak 2 languages in class, Quechua and Spanish. The main focus is on Quechua because it is the everyday language in the village. We use Spanish to teach other knowledge, for example, natural sciences. That way the children get to know 2 different worlds.
Children's songs sung in Quechua. Rupa is recording them for a show on women's radio. The next morning, the women pick up their travels again. Again by canoe, the only way to cover long distances in the rainforest. The journey from Sarayaku to the Pastaza River on the border with Peru takes 2 days. The destination is the remote Amazon village of Huachiapas. The government also wants to flow oil in Huachiapas. The Ashua people are at home here and have been resisting these plans for 5 years. The Ashua see their livelihoods threatened. A justified fear, because in many places pipelines rust and then burst, just like here in the north of Ecuador. Caused by the hot and humid climate. Leaking oil poisons the forest soil and rivers. Cleaning the contaminated areas is almost impossible in the rainforest. Together with the people in the villages, the radio women want to look for ways to prevent things from getting this far in the first place.
Whenever there is talk of successful resistance, the name of the community of Sarayaku is mentioned over and over. The people there have proven that it is possible to protect an area against exploitation by the oil companies. This was a key event and a great example for all indigenous peoples.
Self-confidence, as women in Sarayaku have developed it, is missing here in Huachiapas. At the beginning, there is a lot of skepticism towards the emancipated radio women. And that's why Jijun and Mariana first tried to build trust without the recorders. The best way to do this is to play with children in the schoolyard.
The nice thing about this trip is that you always learn something new. Here they play tag like this. One is the jaguar, the others are the deer that are hunted. The people here are so creative. We had a lot of fun. It was a great afternoon.
The ice is broken. Now the radio women can get out their recording equipment. It's a discovery journey to sounds and stories from everyday life, while making ceramic art, working in the fields, or putting the children to bed. Often the women talk about the rainforest. Nature is considered a wise advisor to them. For the people here, a rational view of the world plays hardly any role. Their lives, their view of the world are shaped by dreams and by their daily practical actions, such as harvesting cassava. For Jijun, who belongs to the Ashua people, the cassava root is more than just food.
I plant you with the purity of my hands, and you give me a rich harvest. This is what it says in the song that we women sing in honor of Nanchu, the mother of all plants. With our song, we ask her to protect our seeds and to give us rich yields.
COVID-19 has put the Ashua people under greater pressure than ever before. Ecuador is suffering from an economic crisis. The state is tempted to exploit the oil fields in the rainforest as quickly as possible. As here, when building houses together, people want to appear as a strong community. They must stand united against the government's development plans. Labor division is still very traditional among the Ashua. Beside building houses, basket weaving is the task of men. Women use the baskets to collect manioc roots. In the evening, an interview with the village elder. Don Guido experienced the time before the arrival of the first missionaries. Unique memories captured by the radio women.
When the first missionaries came, I was 10 years old. I remember Father Luis Bola from Italy. At first, we villagers were very suspicious and tried to drive the missionaries away. We were warriors, after all. After long negotiations, the situation calmed down, and our village leader invited the priest to drink guayusa tea with us. And at some point it happened. We allowed ourselves to be converted and have been following the word of God ever since.
The ritual drinking of guayusa tea always takes place at dawn. Jijun has known the ceremony since she was a child.
When we drink guayusa together, the moment has come when parents, especially mothers, give advice to their children. Plans are made together. We talk about the future and the day ahead. But it is also the moment when we tell each other our dreams. If you had a bad dream, you want to know why. The old people then explain and interpret our dreams and give us advice.
The people of the rainforest believe in invisible forces in their environment. Some places have a special meaning for them. Don Guido leads the three women to such a holy place. Here, he wants to hold a purification ceremony with them.
At this waterfall, we find our god Arutam. He is our companion and advisor. We always come here at full moon when we need Arutam's help.
The radio women also want to get to know the ritual. First, they snort moist tobacco through their nose. Afterwards, they go underneath the waterfall.
The visit of the waterfall with Don Guido was, of course, a highlight of our trip. But the other thing that will stay in my memory are the wonderful conversations with the women in the Amazon villages. These moments have given me a lot of strength.
Janne accompanied the radio women on their entire journey and observed their work. For the 18-year-old, this is her first trip to the rainforest of South America. She has taken hundreds of photos of the originality of the forest and its inhabitants. Janne wants to help to inform people about the rainforest in Europe with the pictures.
I have experienced a lot of nature during my trip, from various river basins to the deep Amazon region. And when I imagine that in a few years it could all be destroyed and simply no longer there, I honestly feel sick. We need a change in politics, a new policy that teaches people that we cannot work against nature, we must live in harmony with it. Otherwise, life on this earth will no longer be possible.
Sonst wird das Leben auf dieser Erde nicht mehr möglich.
Mariana, Jijun and Rupai organized a meeting of the women of Huachiapas. The radio producers want to know how they deal with the fact that oil is to be pumped up on the Ashua territory. The most important thing, the villagers say, is to care for their children and teenagers.
Once a road is built, the young people will leave the community. They go to the city in order to earn money. But there is hardly any work there. What unfortunately happens very often then is that many start to prostitute themselves. The dream of earning money turns into a nightmare.
The women want to educate about such dangers with their radio program and also encourage the peoples of the rainforest to unite in fighting off threats.
We told the women here about the resistance against oil production in Sarayaku. They were very curious and wanted to hear our advice on what they could do.
Their return trip is approaching. For 2 weeks, Mariana, Jijun and Rupai listened mainly to the women of the villages. Now they have a lot of material for new broadcasts. The radio women have found their own way. They not only want to do something against the overexploitation of nature, but also make traditional role models in the indigenous communities an issue. For the Amazon region to have a good future ahead, the voices of its women must become louder. That is the firm conviction of Mariana, Jijun and Rupai.
We are taking so much with us from this journey. Wonderful songs, ancient children's games. We've all learnt so much from each other. And now the moment has come to tell the world about all this with our radio program.